Hello, and welcome to I'm Too Busy. I'm Christina Flach, your host. I'm a celebrity makeup artist and CEO with a passion for all things beauty, wellness, and success. On this show, I'll take you on exciting journeys, sharing personal stories and insights from inspiring entrepreneurs. Together, we will explore manifestation, health, wellness, and the secrets to thriving in life and business. Let's jump in and get inspired.
Today's episode is incredibly special. Not only are we talking about innovation, design, luxury fashion, and disrupting a long overdue industry, but I have the honor of interviewing someone who is not only a global fashion designer, but she is also my beautiful daughter. My guest is Melanie Friedman. She is the founder and designer of Crossover Golf, a brand redefining women's golf apparel with couture-level craftsmanship, innovative materials, and elevated design that moves effortlessly from the course to everyday life. Melanie's journey in fashion spans 4 of the world's capitals: New York, London, Paris, and Amsterdam. She trained at Parsons, became the first ever transfer student at Central St. Martin's in London, worked with Victor and Rolf, Derek Lam, Cocoon, and earned a mentorship with Louis Vuitton. Her designs have been worn by icons like Bella Hadid and Helen Mirren, and also Keith Richards. Now she's bringing the same world-class creativity and technical mastery to golf, a space that desperately needed fresh eyes, a female perspective, and elevated design. Melanie, welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. That was such a nice introduction. Thank you.
I could have gone on and on. So you've trained in New York, London, Paris, and Amsterdam. What has each city contributed to your identity as a designer?
I think each city has really helped inform me based on kind of what the city offers. In New York, it's a bit more ready to wear. In Paris and Amsterdam, where I was working, it was definitely more couture, so a bit more high level. And London is where I studied. So kind of getting all of those has really, informed me as a designer and has helped shape me, seeing like, okay, well, this is like what women look good in. This is how the body works. This is what's ergonomic. This is kind of, and then like, I guess with couture, more of like the process of, really impeccable tailoring, craftsmanship. So kind of just bringing those 2 worlds into one, of kind of the best of each.
Central St. Martin's is nearly impossible to get into. What is it, a 4% acceptance rate?
Yeah, at least for my program, it's a 4% acceptance rate.
And you transferred in. What did that moment mean for you?
I mean, that was just so crazy. I had gone there as an study abroad student and was able to go into classes with their like proper students, because there's 2 different programs. You can either be in the abroad program, which is in a different building, different location in London, or you can be like really at the university and be with their full-time students. So I did that and was fortunate enough that they accepted me to, continue on my studies. So I ended up doing 4 years in London and just really loved it. I mean, it was really hard, but I learned so much and it was just such, a great experience.
Winning the Louis Vuitton project at CSM is monstrous. How did that mentorship shape your artistic eye?
Oh gosh. I think I was able to, with that project, it was very creative and really fun. We were doing a handbag project and it was graded by the Louis Vuitton design team for the handbag department. So just kind of, making my own spin on it and taking things that were interesting to me. I grew up riding horses, as you know, so I was really inspired by their splint boots. I just thought they had such an interesting, unique look to them, and just was thinking like, what would be cool and unique, and thinking for like when I'm going out, I just like, if it's a night out going somewhere, I really just want like the necessities. So like my phone, credit card, keys, and like a lip gloss. So I designed these bags that were like, I guess it's not really a bag, but it was more of like an attachment on top, like for your ankle, almost kind of like an ankle monitor. So it was like inspired by ankle monitors and splint boots for horses. And, just kind of, only bringing the most like necessary things that you would need. So that was just a really fun project. And it was so exciting that it was so, well accepted by them.
Especially because your mother carries around Louis Vuitton bags your whole entire life.
Exactly.
You've worked at some of the world's most iconic houses, Viktor and Rolf, Derek Lam, and Tikkun. What did each teach you about craftsmanship?
Derek Lam really, I think, taught me about form and just making beautiful tailored pieces for the female body, just kind of classic, timeless staples. Tikkun was a bit more design involved, at least for me. And we were doing like a lot of like different print work. So it was kind of just like doing different kind of tie-dye, shibori, different techniques. And it was a bit more hands-on as well. So it was like, sewing on buttons, doing research, playing around with pleats. It was just really fun and really expressive. And then Viktor and Rolf was the most design heavy. That was a really cool experience because a lot of times interns are just like, getting coffee or doing kind of silly things. But at Viktor and Rolf, it was really, really cool. I was always creating, always making things. And basically they kind of give you direction and then you work on a bunch of different, just like little test samples. And basically then they put it all in a room, and their wording was that it's kind of like Viktor and Rolf go into a candy shop and they pick out everything that they like the most. So it was such an incredible feeling and like such a giddy high whenever they would choose my designs, and then would kind of just get to go from there. So then, taking that, making it into, I ended up designing this vest that I fully got to make myself and totally hand done. So very proper couture. And it ended up being the closing look for the Paris Couture Fashion Week show, which was just so exciting and crazy. And then, I designed this other patchwork that was used on a few different pieces, but Bella Hadid ended up wearing that in Vogue, which was just like such a crazy, mind-blowing experience.
That must have just like made all your dreams come true, that moment.
100%. Oh my gosh, it was wild, like crazy.
Take us behind the scenes. What does couture level construction teach you about designing performance apparel?
I think it's kind of informed me in the way where, like, even though I love couture and it's such a beautiful art form, it's not really wearable. And something that I've really wanted to do is create really beautiful things, but that are also, ergonomic, work with the body. You can sit down in it, you can run around, you can do whatever. So having stretch, kind of those details I've really wanted to incorporate. So trying to, merge the worlds of the really beautiful tailoring and finding the best materials and just really intense attention to detail. So kind of that, but then, wanting to make it so you can actually like sit down, go in a car, do whatever.
Your prints at Tikkun define the season. And how does textile innovation influence your work?
Gosh, I want to do more kind of textile innovation for crossover currently, but, as I'm a small business owner, I'm kind of learning a lot of things as I go. And initially I wanted to make SKUs in all different colors, everything, but now learning that it's just not like, financially feasible. So kind of started off with like really small, just simple one color of each style, kind of just like more of, like tonal roots. But now that, we're getting bigger and getting more traction, definitely bringing in new prints and different colors. So it's really exciting to get to pull in new things and work on them and show it to the world.
Let's go back a little bit. Why don't you tell me a little bit of how you got involved with this golf apparel? Like, how did you go from couture to starting your own golf line?
Sure. Well, like, as you know, we come from a really big golf family. All of my 3 siblings are D1 golfers. They've been golfing forever. I golfed as a kid and kind of, veered more towards the fashion and art route. Ended up going to school in London, New York, doing the whole thing. But, after COVID, I came home and was taking my brothers to all of these golf tournaments and was just reminded how women are still so underserved in the golf world, fashion wise. And women make up 60% of the new golfers for the last for the last 6 years. It's not just like just during COVID, it's continuing to be, you know, female dominated of the newer golfers. So just kind of thinking like, okay, well, I know this golf world really well. I've grown up around golf courses and the sport my whole life. And I know, you know, the female form and kind of all the ins and outs of, you know, production, making the body look good, things that are flattering, and just kind of, you know, doing both of those. So it really was kind of like the merging of both of my worlds. So it was exciting to get to be part of golf and join my siblings on their journey a bit more in a personal way.
I know you have a funny quote. What is it? Shrink it and pink it. Is that?
Yeah. You know, that's actually not my quote. That's like a real term in golf fashion. That's been a thing for a long time, but you know, I'm striving to make a change in that. Basically, shrink it and pink it. They use that term for, they'll take like a men's golf polo, make it a little bit smaller, dye it neon pink and slap on some flamingos, and they call it a day. And it's like, who wants that? Like, I mean, I'm sure, you know, sometimes it's fun to wear really crazy prints and stand out and do whatever. But I think the majority of the time, women don't want to be, you know, wearing such gaudy pieces, and not even just that, but pieces that just don't fit and aren't flattering. There really isn't a lot of consideration for women in golfs because, you know, I mean, a lot of the designers are men. So that's kind of the whole shrink it and pink it. And, you know, what we're doing is just kind of knocking all of that down and building our own concept of like, okay, this is for women to look really good, to feel confident, to be able to move, but not just golfing. You know, that's where the name crossover came from. It's like it crosses over from the green to every day. So all of the pieces that I design are intended for women, you know, beyond the course, whether you're at work, going out to lunch, dinner, a date, playing with your kids, being in, like, I mean, you know, I'm a proud auntie, so I love getting to run around with all of my nephews and just play with them and not worry about, you know, if we spill something on it. So everything is stain resistant, everything has stretch. And just for so long, women, we don't have the option for like an in-between. It's either athleisure, you're wearing yoga pants and like, you know, a sports bra, or you're wearing a blouse and trousers and a skirt with no give. Everything has to be dry cleaned. You know, if you get a stain, it's ruined. And just, you know, wanting to make something that women can move around in and travel in. And, you know, it can get messy, but it will, you know, it'll come out in the first wash.
I noticed with both your dads that they would go from golf to a business meeting or out to dinner, and they never had to change. Whereas we all would have to go and change clothes. And so I really appreciate the design, the fit of your line. I wear your clothes when I travel. They travel beautifully. I've spilled things, as you know, and we're going to get into that. And they just, I throw on like an Hermes belt or a Chanel belt and a blazer and some heels, and it's totally transformed from the country club to going out, which I really love. I accompanied you to the PGA show last summer in Frisco, and tell us the story about what happened with the clothes and the
basically, you know, one of my good friends, she came to help, and she was wearing one of the white polos, and she accidentally got blue ink on it, and we all kind of had like a panic moment because, you know, that amount of clothes, of crossover clothes we brought was really limited, and I knew that the material was stain resistant, but I hadn't properly tested it and didn't know to what degree. And, you know, stain resistant usually kind of rules out like wine, ink, makeup. And it fully came out 100% just under like the sink with like hotel soap. It was remarkable. It was honestly pretty shocking. And since then, you know, I've sent out pieces to go to photo shoots, and, you know, they come back sometimes with makeup on them, like as that happens, especially with golf, you know, you're moving, turning when you're swinging,
right?
And, you know, makeup can get on your collar, what have you. And there was one shoot instance where I didn't get the shirt back for like 7 months, and there was makeup on the white shirt. And I was just like, oh God, this is like, I know it's stain resistant, but I wasn't sure if like, you have to do it like immediately, because the ink, we got it immediately. So then it worked. But with this makeup, I honestly blew me away. One wash and it was fully back to normal, like 100%. It was insane. And as a woman, and you're a makeup artist, you know this better than anyone, you can ruin items of clothing with makeup. Like foundation is like
forever. It's the worst.
Bane of existence oils for clothes.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about the PGA show, the first one that you went to, because I know that you've attended two. What was that like? And I know that you're friendly with the PGA president, and how's he helped you? And tell me a little bit about that experience.
The first PGA show, it was when we launched. So I'd been working on Crossover since 2021, but we only properly launched July 27th, which was the first day of the PGA show in 2025 for the summer show. And it was incredible. We were, received with such open arms by everyone. Golf Channel ended up filming us during the fashion show, and then later came to our booth, which was just crazy and so exciting. And, we were featured right away on Golf Channel and then in Golf Digest. And it was just great to see that, so many women were really understanding the whole concept of crossover. And we're just like, oh my God, finally, we've needed this. We've all been wanting something that's, transitional, but chic and flattering. Like there's just so many pro shops where the women's golf section is just so minuscule because, women don't resonate with what they have. And having crossover now going into pro shops and hearing women's feedback has just been such an incredible feeling.
It must have been really fun, especially with your dad, who's so golf obsessed with the other kids, that you made it on the Golf Channel before them. What was that like?
Oh gosh. I mean, I don't know. I think he might still be salty about that to this day, because none of the kids have made it on Golf Channel except for me. Well, at least my clothes.
Yes.
So yeah, we were featured like quickly after the first PGA show. And then at the most recent one in Orlando in January, was lucky enough to bump into Alexandra O'Loughlin, who is just gorgeous on the inside and out. And she's one of like a big Golf Channel host, and, just kind of showed her the new collection really quickly. And then she asked if she could, take one of our new samples home with her and to wear it on Golf Channel. So that was like incredible to see her in our new pieces, and just seeing how much she just genuinely loved it. I didn't have to butter her up or anything.
What was that like, that moment that you saw your clothes on the Golf Channel with someone that chose to wear that? She could wear any line in the world, honestly, but she chose you. What was that feeling like? Did that change things for you?
I mean, it definitely felt like a little high. It was just like, oh my God, this is so crazy.
It's
how
really
did this come? This idea came from my head. I literally have the sketches still of initially what those clothes were going to be. So seeing it from a scribble in my notebook to then, being on television on one of the most beautiful women in golf was just, it was crazy.
What does performance meets luxury fashion mean from a design perspective?
I think, with golf right now, there's a lot of new, really cute companies. So we're not just the only clothing line that makes now cute women's golf apparel. But the thing is that they all really scream golf. So I think with crossover, it's cool that, we're making clothes that are very high quality. The tailoring is beautiful. Everything's made ethically in California. But then bringing in that performance element. So, finding the materials is probably has been the most challenging thing of this entire experience. Finding, pieces that are really high quality, but still have that stretch and all the performance you'd want of breathable, water repellent, antimicrobial, stain resistant, wrinkle resistant. So really kind of just merging those two worlds.
You know what I've noticed with your clothes? when I wear them, the fabric is so yummy soft and just feels good. Like I put it on and I'm like, oh, this feels great. And it fits so nicely. Can you tell me a little bit about like what the fabrics are made of? Because I know it's actually, when you mentioned it to me before, I was actually totally flabbergasted.
Yeah. So the polo I'm wearing right now is made of micromodal, and we have that knit in LA by our now dear friend Abe Shaheen. So shout out to Abe. Thank you for making the most amazing fabric. We love it. And then the other material we source from Japan, and they're really incredible tech fabrics. One is a paper nylon, and the other is made of EcoPet, which was something that I newly discovered in the last 4 years. It's actually made from upcycled plastic bottles. So it really has that kind of green, sustainable element. But the thing is, with so much of the, more sustainable material I've come across, is that it often has like a pretty coarse feeling to it. It's not always the softest thing, but with this specific kind of EcoPet, it is just like butter. It's incredible. Water just beads off of it. I mean, everything, even the modal too. So like, when we were first trying to get the stain out, water at first was just like going off of it. But, once you really soak it for a while, you can get it in there. But yeah, just finding materials that have just been really stellar. That's been amazing. And, I think feeling it in person and trying it on in person is such a game changer. Like the clothes look great on photos, but really when people feel them and try it on, I think is when people are just fall in love with the brand.
What I've noticed with your clothes, it's not just for the petite size 2 woman. You have plus size athletes and women that are wearing your clothes and looking, but more importantly, feeling so good in these clothes, when oftentimes, on larger sizes, people aren't feeling as confident and good. And I've seen some of your social media where you have people in larger sizes that are just they're glowing and they look and feel amazing. What did you expect that to happen?
I mean, that was always my intention. Many of our friends, family, they are all different sizes. And I've seen it firsthand how people of bigger sizes can sometimes just be disregarded by many brands. Mm-hmm. So when we say like all sizes inclusive, I genuinely mean that and genuinely want every woman who puts on crossover to feel incredible. It's just not realistic to be designing something for a size 0 19-year-old. Women are all different sizes, all different shapes. And as a woman, we fluctuate so much that, just wanting things that really make everybody feel really good. And some of like the best compliments or feedback I've gotten from crossover is, women of all sizes telling me that they never thought they could pull off a skirt like this or a top, and just that they feel so confident and good. That honestly is just like what makes all the hard days worth it, is getting that feedback.
What challenges have you faced entering a heritage sports market as a couture designer?
I mean, so many. So many. I mean, my background at CSM and Parsons and all of my internships and jobs, everything has been really design focused. So designing is just like second nature. But, the business element has been really hard. It's kind of just had to like read books, get advice from friends, learn from, mistakes as I go. That has certainly been a challenge. The material, like I was just saying, finding the perfect material is also a challenge, because, if you're going to charge people a certain price point, because like, first of all, it's made in California, so it's a lot more expensive. Like we don't make things overseas. Everyone that works and makes things for crossover, they're all able to like live a life and pay their bills. But having said that, it's like, if you're going to make things expensive, the quality really needs to be there. So kind of just, making sure that we can produce things that are beautifully made to last. So many different things, but I think we've kind of been able to tackle them, which has been great.
As a young female founder, what do you want women, especially young designers, to know?
If you're passionate about what you're doing, like just stick with it. Like there are so many years where I just was like so in the weeds of crossover and I couldn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. And it was just so hard, but it still is, like, not saying that, like, every day is like roses now. It still is really challenging, but just, kind of riding through that and figuring it out has been amazing. And just having like a really good network and team around you. Like I'm so fortunate to have my COO, Clarissa, who's our dear family friend. And she's so brilliant, talented, amazing. And having her support has been phenomenal. My cousin Soph, she is a brilliant creative director at an ad agency. So now we have her on the team and she is our CMO. So just, having a strong, network of people, and it's just been, it's been a great ride.
It's really remarkable because this really is a family business. And we make jokes that, golf is the family business, but actually you have absolutely done that. What has been the biggest pinch me moment so far for you?
Biggest pinch me moment. Probably, seeing Alexandra O'Loughlin wearing the new collection on Golf Channel. That was pretty wild. And, a lot of the female content creators and influencers that I've connected with has been amazing because, now we've been able to grow our social media better, especially with Soph on the team, who's so brilliant. But before, when it was just me running the Instagram, we had like such a measly following. And having these influencer content creator golf girls who could look past us having, like less than 500 followers, but just being so drawn to the clothes, that has been, a really great feeling. And we haven't had any paid marketing, paid anything. Everyone who's been with Crossover or helping is doing it just because they love the brand. So getting like, these girls with like over 250,000 followers or 1 million followers that want to work with me just in exchange for clothes is a really, really good feeling.
It's such a testament to the amazing line that you've created. Do you have players that are like on tour wearing your clothes?
We're working on that right now. It's a little bit harder sometimes connecting with the players because so many of them have sponsorships and they're in really tight, like bound agreements with these very big brands. But we do have players that love and wear the brand. They just aren't really able to wear it yet on the tour because, we don't have that budget yet. Right. But, we're getting there.
What values from your childhood help shape your artistic discipline?
What values from my childhood help it? Having two parents that are, entrepreneurs themselves and having seen that you guys just working really hard and making a great life for me and my siblings has definitely been inspiring. I feel like, we've also had so many like aunts and uncles that are so supportive and unique and entrepreneurs themselves. So kind of just being surrounded by a really amazing group of adults has for sure helped shape who I am and who I want to be and everything I'm working on.
I always told you when you were growing up, figure out what you love doing so much that you do it for free and then figure out how to get paid. And so you've clearly done that, which it's such, as a mother, watching your career, every time I think I can't get more proud of you, you outdo yourself. When you got into Central St. Martin's and you did your line, this is your second company. 2 companies before you're 30 is pretty remarkable. What did, you had another company before called Ruja. What was that like compared to this?
Well, that was just like kind of a surprise line. So I started it when I came back home from London after graduating during COVID. And there was kind of that craze of everyone doing tie-dye at home just because it was like a fun activity. Right. So then I got home and started doing that. But I found a really cool technique called ice dye. Basically, you get these different powders. And it's a really whole like crazy process. Like there's so much to it. You have to soak the pieces before in warm water with all of these different kind of different types of detergents, prep it all, fold the pieces the way you want, and then you put ice on top of it, and then on top of there goes the powder. And it just ended up being so beautiful and so unique. Each piece was really kind of, a piece of couture. I used the embroidery techniques that I developed at Viktor and Rolf for Ruja. So each piece was just like a really special piece of artwork. And I mean, I just loved making it and giving it away to my friends. And a boutique where we're from in Mill Valley ended up, wanting to sell it, which was just like, oh my God, really? And we ended up getting into like 5 different boutiques all in that summer. And then was reached out to by someone at Neiman Marcus who was really interested in it. And, we were almost in with Neiman Marcus, but then, during the pandemic, a bunch of the big box stores weren't surviving anymore just because people couldn't go. So they kind of switched their whole upper management, and we could have still gone with them, but it just would have been like a long process all over again. And I just wasn't as passionate about tie-dye. I loved doing it, but it was honestly really physically tasking, really very intense. Like you have to wring out the pieces, and I developed pretty serious carpal tunnel from that. And the water bill was crazy. And it just was a bit hard to scale.
Well, you couldn't have really grown. I think it would have been almost impossible to do.
Yeah, because I think what made the pieces cool was that each of them was a very unique art piece, not that one you piece created looked the same. Exactly. Right. So kind of scaling that was really tricky. But I mean, it was really beloved, and I still love to do that. I this summer would like to get back to just making those for family and friends. But Molly Sims reached out to me. She became in love with the brand. Keith Richards, I mean, seeing him in People magazine with Patty on their, I think it was their 45th wedding anniversary, and they're kissing and she's in her wedding dress and he was wearing pants that I made. And it was just oh my God, that's crazy. And
that's a pinch me moment.
100%. And then there were other photos that came out of him when he was on tour, getting on the bus, doing whatever, and was wearing the Ruja clothes. So, I still make pieces for them, and for family, but it just was a bit just too tricky to scale and just wasn't as passionate about tie-dye. And I didn't really like being called tie-dye girl. So I didn't want to stick with that. And, for a long time, even before Ruja, when I was still in school at Central St. Martin's, just having been around golf courses so much and just a curious person, I would be in the locker rooms at Chileno, wherever, and would just ask the women hey, what do you think about women's golf apparel? And 10 out of 10 of all women, all demographics, all sizes, they all agreed that women's golf apparel sucks. And they often opt for tennis wear because it's way cuter and, it has the performance. But, at some of the more strict clubs, you can't wear tennis wear. You need to have a collar, you have to have your shoulders covered, or, things of a certain length. So it's okay, let's make things that abide by the golf standard, but are still really, really flattering.
Your sister played D1 golf, and did she tell you something to that effect of what clothes were like for her while she was playing?
I mean, I feel like she didn't even have to say. It was just something that I was, of course, aware of being with her. She definitely was a big inspiration for me starting Crossover. She was on the high school golf team at Branson, and then she went to play at Davis, which is a D1 school. And I can just remember after picking her up from practice, she would be so insecure if we were going to dinner or going somewhere without being able to change, because all of the golf apparel in the 2000s, early 2000s, 2010s was really the shrink it and pink it. So everything was boxy. Everything was unflattering. The guys in school looked cute wearing their golf polos. And we know from the boys who came on a bit later, but their golf clothes, they have no complaints with. But for Rose, I think that was a really big thing of, especially when you're in high school, everything is a bit more awkward and everything feels embarrassing. And, having that confidence with your clothes or not having it can make such a big difference. And especially with golf being such a mental sport, I think if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play well. It all really connects. So if you can golf and you don't have to worry like, oh my gosh, how does this make me look from the side or the back? Or is this riding up? Is it comfortable? Is it weird? If you can just focus on hitting the ball, I think you're, already set in the right path.
To your point, I find that as well in my makeup world with my clients, that if their makeup's done a way that they're not comfortable with, it's distracting. So I completely agree with you that I think it can distract from a player, because if they're not comfortable in what they're wearing or they don't feel they look good, they're thinking about that and they're not thinking about the golf. So do you find that with your players?
I mean, yeah, with everyone that wears crossover, they all, from the feedback I've received, is that, everyone loves the way it looks and they can play really well in it. But what's always kind of, a good feeling too of a compliment is like, women will go on the golf course and people will say, you can't golf in that. That's not golf wear. And then it's like, no, it is. There's stretch to it. It's like all the benefits of athleisure, just in a bit more of a polished package, just having all of that like beautiful tailoring, but with, the performance aspects.
You have a lot of details on some of your jackets. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. I was actually, so we have on one of our windbreakers, there's like little T slots on the arm. And I got that idea after, doing the boys' laundry for so many years and having them complain about having, T's will make holes in their pockets. So all of their pockets have holes in them. They lose things all the time. And I'm just like, okay.
End up in the washer and the dryer.
End up wash. It's just exactly so many. So, first of all, like making our pockets have a material that won't just, instantly rip. Like it's not just, a lightweight, what's the word I'm looking for? Like lining.
Right.
We use like the same quality material for our pockets that we do for the outer shell. But
that's
then also
rare.
Yeah, it really is. But then, also like for the tees, it's like, okay, how can we what can we do to innovate this so we don't have holes in your pockets? Even if you do put it in there, it's like, okay, what if you just want to have it, easy access, easy to grab? And, even like with like this placket for our polo is really unique. We're actually getting a patent for it. Cause like, I'm just like, okay, how can we make the polo a little bit more special? And I think that's something that I really learned at Central St. Martin's through one of my teachers, Heather. She is an incredible designer and, initially was very, very intimidating to me, but I think I really just learned so much from her. And, whenever I was in a design development stage, she was always saying like, really consider everything. Consider the collar, consider the zippers. Can we make it bigger? Can we make it smaller? Is it ergonomic? How is this going to help women? What does this do? So I was just like, okay, how can we make the polo more unique and special and flattering? So I was like, okay, how about we, put the placket off to the side? It just kind of has that feminine, a bit more femininity, being able to show some, collarbone. And
right.
For our short sleeve polo, I have the sleeves a little bit longer for more sun protection. But also, women, I feel like the arms can be such like, a sensitive spot area for us. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like, I personally gain weight in my arms. So just having like that, just like little things that for the design that just make you look your best.
Where do you see crossover golf in 5 years?
I mean, I would love for us to be, big like a Viore and, sold in all over the world and different countries, having way more color options, having even more size variety. I really want crossover to be a genuinely inclusive brand. Like I love how Skims and Good American, both of them are genuinely inclusive and the pieces genuinely look good on all bodies. And I love that I know with, I think both of them, which is something amazing that the Kardashians have done, is they say like, if you're going to carry Skims or Good American, you have to have all the sizes. Like we don't want someone coming to the store and feeling bad about themselves. Like that's right. Just like not cool. And, in this world, people really are all different sizes. So just making sure everyone can try something on in a store and, that it fits them. Like, we'll never say like, oh, we only carry those sizes online. Like, no, we have it all.
I love that. How will you continue pushing innovation in an industry slow to change?
You know, I mean, I'm lucky that everything has been really well received. All of the designs people really seem to love. But I don't know, I guess just, kind of designing what I think women will like, what is going to be truly flattering on them, and, just getting feedback, like talking to actual female golfers or women or anyone, and just, kind of getting their opinion, not like totally changing anything just based off one, but it's like, if I'm talking with a bunch of women and I kind of am consistently hearing the same thing, trying to implement that. So like, I know pockets has been a big thing where I guess a lot of women's golf apparel, like with the whole shrink it and pink it, men like don't think that women need pockets. And every female golfer, the pros, content creators, or just like the casual golfers, they all agree like, hey, we need more pockets. So I've been trying to be really mindful about that and testing it like with my big sized iPhone and being like, okay, can we fit an iPhone in here? Can we fit golf clubs in here? Just like, cause like, sometimes they like, will have pockets, but it's like, you can only put in like a chapstick and AirPods. So
right.
Trying to make things that like, actually women can wear and are conducive to life.
Vision for expanding into lifestyle accessories or collaborations.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you were good. Your answer is good.
Initially with Crossover, it really was golf focused, like for women golfing. And then kind of the more I've been doing this, it's like, okay, this really isn't just for the female golfer. It's for any busy woman, whether you are like a businesswoman, a mom, anyone who travels, for like women on the go. It's like, okay, we want clothes that have breathability, stretch, form fitting, tailored, but also, just like that, the performance and tailoring. So kind of just making a whole new category of stretch tailoring has been a big thing. And, I think, you can wear these clothes to an early round of golf, or you can like just as easy, change your shoes, go to the office, then later put on heels, go to a nice dinner, just making things that, we can really wear in all aspects of our life. So I like to say that Crossover is one wardrobe that replaces three. So you can really wear it all over. And, the antimicrobial element I really love with our materials. I always like to wear Crossover on a plane because like germs literally can't stick to it as much. And the same thing goes for like smelling. So if you, traveling, sweating, whatever, playing golf, working out, doing whatever, like it's not going to smell as bad just with that antimicrobial aspect.
I didn't realize what a big deal that was. That is so interesting.
Yeah.
We're going to do some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Golf course or design studio?
I mean, they're so different. It's hard to pick that one. Like, I love to be on the golf course and having a day out in the sun with my friends or family. But then, design is really more my passion and work. So, I kind of like to do both.
Perfect answer. Who's your muse right now?
My muse right now are probably my cousins, both Annie and Soph. I love that. So, Annie's a mom and also works. And then Soph is really high powered creative director for a big ad agency. So trying to kind of design for both of them, where it's like, okay, what would Annie wear that would look really good to drop off the boys, but then she can go to work, go to dinner with Tristan. For Soph, she's always on a plane. She's always traveling. Like, what can she wear and look really cool on set, but still be comfortable in, travel in and have it comfy, not have it wrinkle. If you get a little bit of makeup on it, it's not the end of the day. Just like really like women on the go, women who are doing things. Like another woman who really inspires me is our really good friend, Savannah Graham. She's a mom and an athlete. And, it's like, what could Sav wear? She lives in New York, like where it's like she can be going in the city, doing things, but then playing with her baby and, working out, and something that, will breathe. She can move in. Just kind of like women who are really doing things and don't have time. She is. She's
She's
one of
the
the
face
faces
of
of
your
crossover. But
Yes,
for
is.
women who don't have time and also don't want to be taking their clothes to the dry cleaner,
Right.
women on the go, women doing things, women accomplishing things, whether they're golfing or not. All women like that are pretty much on the go inspire me.
I love that. Couture ready to wear.
I love to look at couture, but it's not like an everyday thing. So
Right.
I'll pick couture because it is inspiring and beautiful, but can't really wear it.
It's a piece of art. What do you do when your day isn't flowing?
My day's not flowing. Kind of trying to take a step back, go on a walk, listen to a podcast. I love The Toast. Claudia and her sister Jackie Oshry. They're so funny. Giggly Squad, kind of my funny girl podcasts. Watching Bravo, calling my friends, or just going for a drive and listening to music really loud and kind of just getting a little reset. That's usually kind of the way that helps me.
Where's your happy place?
Happy place. Probably Chileno Bay in Cabo.
That's what I thought you'd say. How important is self-care to you? And do you have any certain things that you love that you're doing with diet or exercise right now?
Oh, self-care is very important to me. I love a good face mask. I love a hair mask. Kind of just keeping my home really nice and clean. Soph and I, we always have this saying of if you want a chill day just to watch shows, if you have your place all clean and you're showered and you have a face mask on, but you're watching TV, it's that is self-care. If you're there and your place is in shambles and you feel icky and you have last night's eyeliner smeared on your face still, it's then, things aren't so good. But if everything's nice, you have a candle lit, you're good to go.
Cup of tea. Yeah.
100%.
Do you agree with this? I am my brand and my brand is me.
Absolutely. I really do feel that crossover is me, or, a part of me. I think I'm very multifaceted. So I wouldn't say it's my entire personality, but it's, it's my brainchild, and I'm so passionate about it that, I work on it every single day. There are no days off ever as a small business owner. I'm sure you know. So just being really passionate about it and loving it, loving to talk about it, loving the clothes. I love getting to see women try it on for the first time, and just that excitement or good feeling. Many women have come to me crying happy tears, saying that they never thought they could pull off a skirt or, a piece like this, but just giving them that confidence is really what makes it all worth it.
What's the textile that you're currently obsessed with?
I mean, all of the materials that we're using, the 3 materials, the EcoPet, the paper nylon, and the micromodal. Micromodal is truly like butter. It is so soft. This top, I honestly will sometimes wear as a pajama. It's just so cozy.
It is.
That you just never want to take it off. It's so flattering. It doesn't lose its shape, which I love. Sometimes I have a bunch of favorite white tank tops or something. And, over time they get stretched out, even if you throw them in the dryer. And what's so cool with modal is that it really retains its shape, regardless of how many times it's been through the wash.
What I found really interesting in watching you, go out in your crossover, you will throw on some high cowboy boots and it just turns it into this sexy outfit. And you would never think that you could do that. But what back to what I mentioned earlier about I am my brand and my brand is me, I think it's really an amazing thing to see how you can take your line, be in tennis shoes or golf shoes, and then put on some heels or some cowboy boots, and it's a totally different vibe.
Yeah, I think what's special with crossover is that everything is a very timeless staple, and because it does have that minimal, design element and appearance to it, I think everyone can really wear crossover and make it their own. you could wear it with like, you could wear one of our skirts with like a band tee and like combat boots, and it would still look really cool. You can wear it like how I do sometimes with like cowboy boots, and it just makes it, I don't know, a bit more fun. I think there's so many ways you can dress it up. You can dress it down. You can wear it with loafers or flip flops. Like I've worn it to the beach. I've worn it nights out. Like there's just so many different places. It really crosses over into like every aspect of life.
Favorite city for inspiration?
New York and Paris, for sure. Just walking the streets of both of those places is, I mean, there's always something to see. The people watching is amazing. They're both just very inspiring cities to me.
Do you have a hardest runway moment?
What do you mean?
Did you ever have a moment when you were designing that it was just a tough moment, like, someone wearing your clothes and it didn't go out correctly or something, some mishap?
At the PGA show for that debut fashion show, one of the trousers was worn a bit higher than I would have liked. It kind of cut at the ankle in a strange way. But so much of the feedback we got about that was so positive, because I think a lot of women's golf trousers are too long and, people step on it, get grass stains, whatever, holes in it. So kind of just seeing that moment, but even though like I was kind of internally freaking out about it, it was still really well received. It's kind of just good to remember that, everyone's perspective is different. So there could be something that like, horrifies me, but then like other people love it. And then that like inspires me further. So now with our new collection, we do have trousers that are semi-cropped. And everything, as you know, is the stain resistant. So just really trying to think like, okay, what will really benefit women on the course in life? All of it.
Best advice from a mentor?
I mean, so much. I have so much amazing advice. Really just like not giving up. Like, just stick with it. If you're really passionate about it, just keep going, keep pushing through.
I think that's the wisest advice. A project you'd redo or never change?
It's so hard with design. I feel like it kind of, you never want it to end, but like, that's why having like timelines, at least for me, is so important, because like I could keep editing and developing and doing different iterations, like till, the end of time.
Right.
So I feel like there's always something that I would want to change, or it's like, I didn't get to do this enough or this or that. But, just being really proud of the work that I have produced, and, especially when it's so well received, just, taking the win.
What makes great design great?
I mean, I think there's a bunch of different aspects to me. I love couture, that it's so beautiful, that they're really unique pieces of art. I mean, the time that goes into some of these designs and the creation is mind blowing. Like thousands of hours, dozens of hands have worked on it. That is always just mind blowing to me. But then, on a more ready to wear element of like things that just genuinely are like ergonomic, things that work with the body, that don't work against it, being able to stretch, being able to move, being able to perform in a way. I think, there's, like we were saying earlier, women have had to choose between either athleisure or like proper business attire. So kind of just merging those worlds where it's like, okay, you can look really good in this, feel really confident, but like everything is still breathable. And like, if it's a really hot day, you go in the bathroom. Like I've had that where it's like you're trying to pull up a skirt and it's like, it's like I've expanded, the clothes have gotten weird. It's hard to put on. Like, I just love that with crossover, there is just so much flexibility, not just with like the style, but with the material itself.
One word for crossover golf.
Well, this is a hyphenated word, multifaceted.
Oh, that's true. Touche. What have I not asked you that you would like to share? Do you have anything coming up that's exciting, or, anything that I missed?
I feel like you've really kind of hit everything. I mean, you know me so well. Obviously, you're my mom. So I feel like you kind of just have really done it. But I mean, we're always working on new things at Crossover, and I'm so excited for the new collection we're working on. And we have a bunch of, bigger stores and distribution companies that we're going to be coming out with soon. I don't want to mention them all just yet, but it's really exciting. It's just amazing how it's being so, well accepted. And now we're international. We have an account in Bermuda, soon to be the UK. We're actually Hawaii is obviously part of the US, but, just being able to have all of these places all over the world that are, wanting Crossover is amazing, and kind of just expanding more and more.
Thank you so much for being here today, Melanie. I'm so proud of you. I love watching your career and your company. This just goes to show you dream big, never give up, and do what makes you happy, because it just shows in everything. Thank you so much. I'm Christina Flach. I'm Too Busy. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next week.